Good evening, and welcome to the National Steinbeck Center on this special occasion to view the inspiring art exhibit honoring women's rights and to participate in a community conversation about advancing women leaders. My name is Sheila Dundon, and I will be your speaker and facilitator tonight. A fundamental belief in the work I do is that groups, teams, families, and even the communities in which we work and live are a human system. And what that means is whatever one person does in the group affects the entire system in one way or another. So when one woman gets passed over for a promotion or does not get hired as a result of gender bias, we are all impacted in some way. I had a friend of mine who I was talking to and encouraging him to come tonight say, well, why should I attend this event? It doesn't affect me. And I replied, seriously, Jim, if it was your wife who was passed over for a great promotion that would have allowed your child to go to college, you're saying that wouldn't affect you? We have a conundrum in the United States. All the factual and empirical data tells us women are great for business, and women are great leaders and managers, but the numbers don't reflect it. Research groups such as Catalyst, Inc., the White House Project, McKinsey & Company, and the Department of Labor have all found in their reports, have provided us with findings that say, yeah, women are good for business, specifically in Fortune 500 companies with 3 or more women at the top. Those companies reported significant earnings over organizations with 1 or no women in their boards of directors or their senior management positions. And when it comes to leadership, in 2011, Zenger-Folkman did a huge survey with 7,000 employees. And when they asked the employees to evaluate the managers on leadership, 90% of the areas of leadership, all the different leadership competencies, in 90% of the case, the women far outscored the men in the quality of the leadership that they delivered to their employees. I know that's not a surprise to some of you. In another survey, 72% of executives, of course most being men, reported there really is a strong connection between an organization who has successfully focused on gender balance and their financial results. And so that's what the executives are saying, but the results aren't there. Even billionaire Warren Buffett has predicted women will save the American economy. You'd think with data like this we'd have better results. So I'm going to give you a picture of how stagnant the growth has been, so you have some specific data to look at, and what the representation of women on the top has been. In this first slide I'm going to show you, you're going to see, so these are the changes over the last 5 years, so from 2007 to 2012. Let's look at the first column on the far left. This one, Parliament. So that's a report that is done globally and looks at all countries and the percentage of women representing their people in Parliament, okay? And these are the numbers for the United States only. So in 2007, we had a representation of 16.8%, and 5 years later, wow, we went up to 17%. But here's a piece that's not on that slide that I want to share with you. This whole report ranks countries, okay, from the top to the last one. I think it's about 150 countries. In 2007, the United States was 71st in ranking. And 5 years later, we're 82nd. Rwanda's first. Cuba's second. We've got a ways to go. On the second, in the middle there, the bars in the middle, that's a Fortune 500 board of directors across the United States only. And as you'll see, in 2007, overall, 14.8% of the boards of directors were represented by women, and 5 years later, we're up to 16.6%. And then the third set of bars has to do with executives in senior management positions in organizations. And you can see those numbers are a little bit lower. So we really need to get those numbers up there, and that's what we're going to talk about tonight. The next slide we're going to look at is the Fortune 500 and largest 400 companies in California, because I wanted you to see what's going on specifically in California too. So when you look at the far left, you'll see these are organizations that have 25% or more women on their boards of directors. For the United States, it was 16.3, then up to 19.3. For California, 5.2. We're a front runner, huh? Okay. For companies with more than one woman but less than 25% on the board, you can see those numbers. Then one woman on the board, no women on the board, and then the average. If you look at the no women on the board in California, for the 400 largest in 2012, 44.8% have no women on their boards of directors. And the problem, not only are these numbers low, but the trajectory, the rate of growth has changed. So from 1999 to 2005, there was about a 20% increase happening. From 2006 to today, it has slowed to 11%. Now, of course, when you're dealing with low numbers, percentages can be big, but still, that's a huge change, and we've got to do something about getting that trajectory up. Here's the California statistics over the last 6 years, so you can see what that line looks like, representing women, either CEOs, women directors, or highest paid executives. The very top line is short because they stopped collecting it in that way, but they still wanted to show it. Those numbers are just out. That's the study done by UC Davis every year, and it just came out about 2 weeks ago. This lack of growth is disturbing and negatively affects the economy in the communities in which we live. The effect for employers is also dramatic. So what's happening for employers is that they are losing some of their best talent because women are leaving. They're not putting up with it anymore. And there are several reasons why I think people leave. I'm going to give you my reasons, and I would love to hear yours. I think women leave because they're fed up with the results of their efforts of trying to advance in their job and to get into senior management, and they're fed up with the gender bias that they're faced with. And so they either get recruited away if they're kind of known out there as being really good, or they go out and they find another job and cross their fingers or ask the right questions in the interview to see if they can get into a company where they're going to be treated a little bit better and be valued. The other reason women leave is because they leave to have children. But the offers to them aren't attractive enough to come back. And that's something that we have to change. We have to get companies creating policies so it is attractive for women to come back. And the third is that women are leaving to start their own businesses. They're fed up, but they say, I think I can do a really good job of it, and I'm hoping that if I can invest in myself and start my own organization, I have a better chance of a fair return on my investment. I think those are the three main categories. Things are changing, but the growth is slow, and it's slowing. And that's not okay. And it's going to take individuals, it's going to take organizations, and it's going to take each one of us looking at how we raise our children to actually change this around.